So, Foots, I have a
Yes.
little, I guess you could call hot take. I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to give you any kind of opinion until I hear what you have to say. All right.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys have a true running back one in Rico Dowdle.
Okay. The Dallas Cowboys have a true running back one in Rico Dowdle. The answer is yes. I think signing Zeke scared a lot of people, Zach, and it also made a lot of true Zeke fans happy, true blue blood Cowboys fans happy. So it went 50-50 with the fan base.
Yep.
And then there's the side of the fan base who absolutely positively loves Deuce Vaughn. They love everything that he stands for. They love the fact that his dad, Chris Vaughn, was the crying and just the feel-good story of the Dallas Cowboys. The problem with Deuce Vaughn is what we were all scared about and what we tried to talk through. He's just too small. And so now when you see the guy, they're moving him to slot, they're doing these things. He literally can give you nothing in pass pro. He can't break an NFL tackle. He's just too little. If it's not blocked up correctly, and I'll be honest with you, I really don't think that NFL teams respect Deuce Vaughn. Like if he's running the ball, they don't respect him. And then there's Royce Freeman, who is the ultimate wild card because when you turn on the film, you see a guy who's built a certain way. You see a guy who runs hard. You see a guy who's physical. You see a guy who can get you through a game if you have an injury. But I believe that Zeke was brought in to be security if Rico Dowdle can't take this job. And the Giants game last year was the second Giants game was the one that showed me Rico can run hard. Rico can catch the ball. The one thing that kind of bothered me with Mike McCarthy, if you want to talk about play calling, Zach, was the fact that he wouldn't let Rico really get into a groove. It was the same thing that he did with Zeke and Tony. So what are you thinking about that?
Thing with not getting Rico going, he had 2 games last year where he carried the ball more than 10 times. His share, overall touches in the offense was 5%.
Yes.
5%, that was his workload. For Rico, the reason I say that he's a true running back one, even in speaking outside of the Cowboys, being the Cowboys running back one, I think it's his job to lose. I think he has legit running back one potential, even on other teams, because I think he has the size, the speed, the power. The combination of those things are really good with
ability.
Rico.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch some of the games that he had last year, you mentioned the Giants game, the Cardinals game, where he made like 5 guys miss on a pass out into the backfield. 3-yard loss turned into a 10-yard gain, first down. I think the skill set is there. The problem is, and I have to push back a little bit on my own take.
Okay.
Which I think these two things can exist at the same time, but it is a concern. The injuries. The injury history is concerning. If you look at it, 2021, he had the hip injury in the preseason. That was on Hard Knocks. That was the year the Cowboys were on Hard Knocks. He got put on injured reserve, out for the year. 2020, with Zeke still with the Cowboys the year before he left, Rico appeared in 5 games, playing mostly on special teams, had an ankle injury. Once again, back on IR, missed the year. 2023, he missed 1 game, or it was a leg injury in like week 17, missed that game. So the injury concerns are real for Rico.
Yes.
But I just can't help but think when he's on the field, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he has good vision. He did a lot of good things catching the ball out of the backfield in the screen game.
Yes.
I like it. But can you really rely on a guy if he's missing games like this? Is a guy with an injury history that has barely touched the ball 100 times in the NFL. It's a real concern.
That's the alarming part because I think, 89 carries last year. I looked it up for you, Zach. The other game you were talking about was the Philly game that they won in Dallas. He got a bulk of the carries, 12 carries. Can you get him up to 15 to 16 carries, touches a game? That's where I think Dallas for 17 games. That's where, because you know what, Zach? I think you're right. I don't think you're right. I know you're right. He has juice, like real juice. The problem is the juice sustainable or does it get watered down? I'll do you one better. He had a run either I think it might have been the Giants game where not only did he run hard, but he ran with power. So I'm like, he's fast. He used to return kicks at a time.
Yep.
So he's fast. He's physical. Runs with power. What am I missing? And why don't the Cowboys fully believe? And why are they bringing in all these other backs? I think the plan is this. Let the guys on the back half of the roster, and that includes Ezekiel Elliott, let them battle for those 8 carries, those goal line situations, those 3rd and 1 situations, because the issue is with Rico, love him on second and first down. Same with Pollard. There's times where I think the Cowboys say, we just want a guy who we could just stuff it in there. And Zeke used to be that whole package. And I think that they think that Zeke or Royce Freeman can just do that for the team.
You didn't mention it in this context, but with the plan, if Rico could stay healthy, the plan that the Cowboys have had to get him to this point has been great. He came in 2020 as an undrafted free agent. He's hung around. He's shown things in the preseason. He's shown some things in the regular season. He hasn't ever been that number 1 back. He was behind Zeke and Pollard, and then behind Zeke and Pollard again, and then just Pollard. He's played on special teams, and now he's getting a chance to play as the running back 1.
Yes.
Like, the plan to get him to this point has been awesome because he's shown you good things. He's shown you flashes. We don't know what it looks like on a 250 carry season. I think people would be more excited about this running back room if Rico maybe had gotten a little bit more chances and he's been able to stay healthy.
Yes. And I think the health at running back that's a real question. Zach.
Very, very real question.
Let me ask you this, Zach. Is the Cowboys starting running back not on this team?
A lot of people, especially Brian Broaddus, does not think the starting running back is on this team. And my pushback against that is, we know the Cowboys are not going to give up significant draft capital. And if they do for a running back, everyone is going to lose their minds.
Yes. Going to go crazy.
What running back are you going to get if a team cuts one, if a team wants to get rid of one? What running back are you going to get that gives you any more than what you have on the roster right now? You have 8 guys on this roster. Malik Davis, Nathaniel Pete. What are you getting from anyone else?
Hunter Luke.
That's not already in the room. You're just going to add number 9, maybe cut one. You're back to number 8, and you have a guy that's slightly better than this guy. I just don't see. I see the reason that you want to bring in another running back, 100%. I see the reasoning, but I just don't get where you get better.
Yeah, I think I think with some people, I've heard like Israel and Bakamba from the Jets. I've heard a bunch of names because they just drafted a guy. They drafted Braylon Allen. So I've heard these things and I've heard these theories, and I completely agree with you. If the Jets or whatever team is running back rich, why don't they want the player?
So you're telling me we're going to improve in the running back room with someone's running back 4?
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Rico could be another team's running back 2 or 3.
Yes. I think what we have to do is, I think Cowboys fans have fallen into a trap of, we want everything. And we said this pre-draft, right? You have to reimagine a few things. The running back position is one that has to be reimagined. Now, it's funny how that running back position has done what? Zach is going up, it's gone down, it's gone up. So, when Zeke was drafted in 2016, there were people who would argue, but it's like, okay, you could still get away with drafting a running back in the first round. And then I think Todd Gurley was after Zeke, and then after that, it was like there's this lull of like, well, you know what? You'd be crazy to take a running back in the first round. There wasn't a first round running back this year. There were 2 last year. But it was really like people love Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, maybe I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He turned out great for what they do. But for the most part, the running back position has become a second, third round position. And it's also become a position where when it comes to draft capital, teams will rather get their left tackle, get their corner, get their quarterback, now receiver in the first round versus what? A running back. So now we can't have it both ways, Zach.
Yeah.
You have 4 guys. I think that you let them duke it out, but I do think that Rico, I like your point about Rico being a starter.
People are mad at the Cowboys, right? And I think it hinges on what they saw happen with the running back market this offseason. We saw guys get paid. I didn't think teams were going to invest in the running back position like they did. The Eagles, the Ravens gave Derrick Henry with like 2,300 carries on his body, $8 million for 2 years, $16 million over 2. I will argue that the Cowboys' decision to not sign a running back and what they did with the running back room was smarter than what the Eagles did with Saquon Barkley. It's flashier. Yes. It's flashier. Cool. You got Saquon. And that makes Cowboys fans mad. But I promise you would have been mad if you paid, I think it was $14 million, 14 and a half for Saquon over, I think all the money's front loaded. So 2 years. You'd be mad if the Cowboys did that and he plays 5 games.
And I've been very out front with my thoughts on the Saquon Barkley contract. You talk about a guy who's injured. You talk about a guy who hasn't. I mean, he was drafted a year after Zeke as well, and he's done what? You know what I mean? And so I think, and all of it isn't just, oh, the Giants are a bad team. Yes, the Giants are a bad team. They've had bad offensive lines, but I also don't know if Kellen Moore is a good spot for a running back like Saquon Barkley, because I don't think he's a running back at this juncture in his career where you could just line him up, run him between the tackles. I think that he's a running back where he needs to be throwing the ball. You have to scheme him the ball, and that's not what Kellen Moore does, and that's also not what Jalen Hurts is good at, is, throwing with touch and throwing with accuracy to those guys in space like that. So that you're 100%. Give me a Rico Dowdle in the Temptations versus versus getting a big name guy, because you bring in Derrick Henry and it's a dud. Well, trust me, everybody's mad.
You just wasted a bunch of money. Wasted a bunch of money, and you got, which Derrick Henry's proven a little bit that he's durable a lot more than Saquon has. It's a lose-lose with the running backs. It really is, especially with the position that the Cowboys are in and what the Eagles did, because people just see the name. They know Saquon Barkley. Just letting everybody know, he got drafted in 2018. That was 6 years ago. So the guy that you saw coming out of Penn State, not that dude anymore. Ankle injuries, lower body injuries, all that stuff. I think, honestly, the Cowboys are going to get, if they get half a less yard out of their backfield, if Saquon averages, I'll go out on a limb, he's going to average about 4.6, 4.7 yards per carry. Rico averages 4.3.
To me, it's even trade-off. I like the hot take, Zach. I like where you're going. Rico's the guy. I'm going on record. I'm saying that part of it. I know there was a lot of hoopla when Zeke came back, but I'm not one of these people that I honestly don't believe that, like, there's not a team where I said, oh man, they're running back winning them Super Bowl, because I don't think that, like, running back, safeties, like, I think other positions have become more important. So yeah.